The hidden cost of playing it safe. Responsible companies fail. Reckless ones win. It's a tale as old as time. But here's what you won't learn in business school. Companies you think are reckless aren't gambling. They're just moving faster than you're comfortable with. And companies you think are responsible, they are not protecting their business. They're strangling it to death. Take Kodak, for example. They invented the digital camera in 1975, but buried it to protect film sales. Blockbuster passed up the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million to protect their late fee revenue model. Nokia owned 40% of the mobile market, but refused to pivot to smartphones to protect their existing product line. Every single one of these companies chose responsibility over risk. Every single one of them is either dead now or irrelevant. Here's your first reality check. The market doesn't punish recklessness. It punishes hesitation. So, if you're playing it safe, you might as well be an endangered species, one tiny market move away from guaranteed extinction. Here's why safety kills faster than risk ever could. In 2004, Blockbuster was untouchable. The company had more than 9,000 stores all over the world, dominated the video rental industry, and raked in an annual revenue of nearly $6 billion. What many didn't know, however, was that even at the peak of its reign, Blockbuster was already several years behind its competitors. Its fate of doom had been sealed since the year 2000. Roll the tape back a few years. Reed Hastings, Netflix founder, walks into Blockbuster's headquarters in Dallas with a simple offer. Buy Netflix for $50 million. But what do Blockbuster's execs do? They laugh him out of the room. After all, Netflix was losing money. The company was barely getting by with only 300,000 subscribers, and the DVD by mail model seemed too niche. So, Blockbuster chose responsibility. They had stores, they had traffic, they had a proven business model that generated billions. Why risk shareholder money on an unproven technology when the current system was literally printing money? That's exactly what a responsible company does. They protect shareholder value, minimize risk, stay the course, and die at the slightest provocation. Here's what Blockbuster's responsible decision cost them. Just 10 years after Netflix begged Blockbuster to buy their company, Blockbuster ended up filing for bankruptcy with $900 million in debt. That's $1.2 billion in today's money. Netflix, the company they refused to buy for $50 million on the other hand, by 2010, they were worth $9 billion. Today, Netflix is valued at over $500 billion, on its way to the trillion-dollar mark. You know what's left of Blockbuster? A single nostalgic store in Bend, Oregon. Now, before you learn the wrong lesson, Netflix did not kill Blockbuster. Blockbuster killed Blockbuster because they saw the future and actively chose to ignore it. Contrast that with Netflix's daring approach. With Blockbuster rejecting their offer, Netflix went back to the drawing board, prepared to double down. The immediate response, however, was a baptism of fire. Netflix nearly lost it all. Netflix knew that streaming was the future, so it jacked up subscription fees by 60% in a bid to capitalize. Customers were outraged. Almost 1 million abandoned the platform overnight. Stock crashed by 80%. Pundits called time of death. Yet in the midst of intense blowback, the company doubled down on its investment in streaming technology, even going on to invest hundreds of millions in original content. The result? Within 2 years, the company's stock had climbed back 97%. Subscriber count doubled to over 44 million, and suddenly, binge watching became a thing. To this day, Netflix's competitors are still trying to catch up. The lesson couldn't be clearer. Being bold is always the less risky approach, and here are 3 reasons why. 1. Comfort equals stagnation, and stagnation equals death. Look, markets don't care about your comfort zone. They're going to evolve whether you're ready or not. Case in point, Kodak. They invented the digital camera in 1975, an innovation that redefined the future of photography. But out of fear of cannibalizing their $16 billion film and printing business, they buried it. Kodak's execs, just like Blockbuster's, thought they were doing the responsible thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Except by 2012, Kodak was forced to file for bankruptcy. Their film business didn't need protection. It needed replacement. Unfortunately for them, they were too responsible to see it. Write this down. What you protect today becomes your prison tomorrow. Every dollar you refuse to risk on innovation is a dollar you're betting that you will surely go extinct, because markets will always evolve faster than responsible companies can adapt. Lesson 2. The market punishes indecision faster than it punishes bad decisions. This might break your brain, but bad decisions recover faster than no decision. Make the wrong call, then learn, pivot, and move on. But make no bet at all. and your competitors steal the market from under you. It's what happened to Nokia. Back in 2007, Nokia owned 50% of the global mobile phone market. They were the Apple of their time, the brand everyone wanted and trusted. Remember Snake? Then the iPhone dropped. Suddenly, Nokia was faced with a decision: pivot immediately to smartphones and abandon the Symbian operating system, or protect their existing product line and evolve slowly. Obviously, we all know how that ended. They did what the shareholders wanted, what the analysts recommended. In 2014, Microsoft bought Nokia for $7.2 billion. At its peak in 2000, Nokia was worth $250 billion. The loss was beyond colossal. But it gets worse. 2 years after, Microsoft wrote off the entire acquisition as a loss and shut it down. In less than a decade, Nokia went from market leader to completely irrelevant. Apple and Samsung, on the other hand, continued to take reckless moves, betting billions on unproven technologies and risking customer backlash with every major pivot. Today, they own the market. The moral of the story? Indecision is a decision the market interprets as weakness. Think of indecision as swimming in the middle of the ocean. Sure, you're not drowning, but you're also going nowhere. Eventually, you're going to run out of energy. What's going to happen then? Think about that while we move to lesson 3. In 2013, Netflix made a $100 million bet on itself when it debuted its first original series, House of Cards. At the time, Netflix was still trying to make its name as a streaming platform. They had zero experience producing movies, not to talk of the necessary capital. Hollywood thought they were insane. Wall Street called the move stupid. But Netflix understood something the experts didn't. If they wanted to own the streaming industry, they couldn't continue licensing other people's content forever. It's super expensive and unreliable. They needed to control their supply chain. They needed to become a studio and not just a distributor. So they made the bet, and that bet grew into a content strategy that has skyrocketed Netflix's annual revenue. A decade later, and traditional studios are still trying to catch up. Why? Because Netflix took a calculated risk. Here's the point. Innovation requires calculated risk, and calculated risk will beat certainty every single time. So pause and ask yourself these questions. What am I protecting by playing it safe? Could be a business model, current revenue, or existing customer. Next, ask yourself, what future am I forfeiting by avoiding risk? Usually that's market leadership or long-term growth. Now, if the answer to question 2 is bigger than your answer to question 1, then you're not playing it safe. You're barreling toward irrelevance at lightning speed. But you can fix that now by killing your darlings. Remember, the companies that win are the ones willing to burn their current position to build the next one. If you don't make that move, the market will move you, and it won't ask your permission.